Hello and welcome to Reinfused. Today we are taking a little look at a machine that breaks all of my rules for things that I normally buy, especially from Japan. So I have some simple rules. I don't work with stuff that have got embedded CRTs because working on CRTs just fears me. So I don't want to work on CRTs, so I try not to. Obviously the Vectrex is the exception that proves the rule. I don't get heavy stuff sent across because it's just expensive, and joining both of those things together, I don't get CRTs sent a long way either. Very simple rules that I do try to live by. So the machine we're covering today is a machine that breaks every single one of those rules, and that is this, which is the NEC 5H, or the Mini 5H. It goes by a few names actually, but Mini 5H is probably the best name to call it by. And yeah, it's relatively heavy for a very simple reason. And that's if I drop this top lid down here. Yeah, you can see it has a CRT nestled within. It's a lovely little machine, which is the reason why I ended up buying it. And it mostly works. I'm not turning it on, as you can see, but it does actually turn on once you learn how. It's very simple, but it's still something that apparently kept me busy for half an hour when I first tried it. So it's got a big power switch on the back, which I just assumed would turn it on. But no, you turn that on and then you push this big green button here, which is quite plainly an on-off button. Fair enough. In my defense, it was quite low up to the ground, so if I do this back up again, I can kind of show you what I mean. There we go. Closes with a nice pleasing click, and it's got this little bar here, which doubles as a kind of a handle, so you can kind of lift it with it, but I don't know if you're supposed to or not. The instructions are vague. Well, they're in Japanese rather than vague, but you know what I mean. But it also has a positioning thing, so it's got these two buttons at the side, and if you push those both in whilst lifting it, you can make this move to a different angle, so it makes it more easy to use. I had this when I first tried it quite low, so I didn't actually see that button very clearly. That's my excuse. I did eventually find it, and we did turn it on, although I did look at the instructions, I'll admit. And yeah, and it does, like I say, mostly work, except, opening this up again, for the floppy drive. The floppy drive does not work. Now, we should talk about a little bit about what this machine is really, I guess. So it's ostensibly a kind of an office machine, a word processor, if you will. But it's kind of like the Amstrad models that were quite similar back in the day, the PCWs and ones of those that Amstrad made. It's not just a word processing machine. It's a full-blown computer and it's running CP/M. Now, I've got a love for CP/M. You've probably seen my documentary on it. And I just kind of love machines that run it. And this was, a fairly relatively low cost machine that was running full CP/M. And you can get into CP/M as well. There is a key combination you can push and it will boot into it. Unfortunately, you have to have a disk in the drive where you can boot into it. And again, no floppy disk working means I can't fully get in there. But I have managed to start the sequence. It definitely runs. And yeah. So, what we need to do is open it up. Not something I like doing, and again, this is the reason why this isn't being turned on. So though I could show you this screen, I could show you it working, I could show you the word processing part of it going. It's got a printer up here as well, by the way. We'll look at all this stuff closer a bit later. Because it's got this CRT in there and I want to be working relatively close to it, I don't want to power this up. This has been off for a couple of days now. The last time I powered it on was at least 3 days ago, so this should have discharged by now. And I don't want to turn it on again in case it doesn't discharge quickly. Not all CRTs do, and it just kind of lowers the risk of me killing myself, which I feel is a risk I shouldn't be taking. So anyway, let's open this up and see if we can get into the floppy drive easily, and if we can repair it. By the sounds of it, I think it's probably either just a belt gone or it just needs some greasing. But the sounds coming from it are definitely a mechanism struggling somehow. So let's take a look. that was not easy to take out. Had to remove the printer mechanism, and really, like, the screws are really buried inside and much too close to the CRT for my liking, although the dangerous bit is pretty much back there. So if I haven't just smashed the neck board, I'm just worried about that. No, that's fine. The printer mechanism fell down again, but it's fine. It landed on the metal bits which held it up, which is good. Some plastic has been pulled away. No, that's how it's supposed to be. Okay. Also, this was one of the grounding wires from the printer. It was just not connected to anything. So I think it's supposed to go here. They scraped away a bit of the metal, so obviously that's something that was added on afterwards. But anyway, we need to take a look at this, which is the floppy drive. So we'll get out of this chassis first. Well, that was annoying. All the screws came out apart from one, which was almost immediately started to strip as soon as I started trying to undo it, no matter what screwdriver I used. Fortunately, these were actually held on using kind of a bracket system, and I could undo the top bracket and then wedge it out, and it came out. So hopefully I can get this back in again anyway, but let's try to take this open more. Right, I've gone handheld a bit because this has gone very wrong. Yeah. So I was taking this off, which I assumed was just kind of a cover over the floppy drive, because they normally are. And no, there's a whole circuit board stuck in the top, and these two very thin ribbon cables which lead to here and no longer do, and not in a nice way. So there's very little chance I'm fixing this floppy drive. It's got a model number, so maybe I can find a replacement, or I can work out, I mean, is that a shoe guard interface? Possibly. I guess a bit of investigation on that we'll find out. So I think what we should do then, given this disappointment, is put this back together, and we'll just go over the machine itself, and we'll have another episode hopefully where I get some kind of solution working. Hey, maybe even GoTech. Who knows? Well, there we go. It's all back together again. So I guess we just need to see if we've actually broken it. I haven't tried turning it on. You can see no high voltage there. So I haven't tried turning it on since putting it back together. Hopefully nothing else is broken on it now. Let's have a look at some of the bits around it before we try turning it on, because yes, I'm stalling. Obviously the floppy drive we've seen, which is definitely dead now. The power button, of contrast and brightness button, I believe. There's some like sockets down here. I'm not entirely sure what these are, but this is obviously the keyboard one. Yeah, the keyboard is this lovely, I think it was a lighter brown than this when it, oh, you can't actually see the keyboard, there we go. So it's a slightly lighter brown than this when it first happened. So I mean, if you look to the side, you can kind of see some of the lightness of it, and this was like a much greener green, and this looks like it was blue, which is interesting, judging by the back of the button, which I can't really show you. So yeah, interesting enough keyboard, and there's a little like cubby hole here where you can store some floppy disks. I've got this floppy disk that came with it, which obviously I haven't been able to test, so that can just fit inside there, so you can keep your floppy disk safe. And I've got an unopened printer cartridge as well. I've got a feeling this machine wasn't actually used before, or at least not used much, because this is literally just still sealed with the original sellotape. So, oh look, that doesn't quite fit in. That's a shame. Anyway, but yeah, obviously with the printer tape, we can see there is a printer connected into here, which was a bit of a, yeah. Well, it wasn't too much of an issue. Once you got rid of the screws and stuff, then it did get out of the way enough that you could get into this this floppy section. It's all very compact. I mean, bearing in mind that it's got the monitor in there, it's got the computer, and it's got the printer in there. It's quite a compact system, all in all, obviously, compared to what separate systems would be, rather than as a whole. Obviously, as a whole, it's not that compact. But yeah, it was much easier, by the way, to get it back together. than it was to take it apart. Once you realise this has to be at the front and you pull the case basically up, slightly back and up again, and then it is a lot easier to do. So once I get some way of fixing this, and I will work it out somehow, it'll be much easier to get inside and get to that now. I also found the little extendy thing on my screwdriver set helped me get into the screws, which were a bit tucked away. Anyway, we could look at the back, I guess, but then that would be me stalling again. I think we should try powering this up and have a look at the screen. So I will put one of the cameras so they're facing towards the screen more, and we will try to get this powered up and hope that it still works. Right, the power is connected. I'm now going to flip the switch at the back. And now we need to push this button. Right, we've got a green light. A little warning. And there we go. That's the word processor. Okay, so yeah, we can do, well, they'll be using Japanese characters, of course. But yeah, we can switch between those. There is a button that does it. I don't know which one though. Oh, we can do that. There we go. There we are. Is that delete? That is delete. Look at that. It doesn't say delete, but it's in the right place that I'd expect delete to be, so that's good. There we are. And I think there's a button on here that would make that then print. I'll have to read the instructions to work that one out. But yeah, and it's like it's a really nice and clear CRT as well, which is really cool. But that's it for now, at least for this machine. There will be more. So there we go, the NEC Mini 5HA. A video that was supposed to show you one introduction to this machine and also a show me fixing a floppy drive, but in fact turned out to show you that even someone who's been doing this for a really long time, and I have been, I'm not an expert by any means, but I've been doing this long enough that things don't break that often anymore. Still goes wrong occasionally, unfortunately. We will fix that. We will get a floppy solution working, because I do want to test the machine out, because yes, it's a word processor, but it's also a fully fledged CPM machine. So we want to get that running, really. So yeah. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please hit like. If you really like the video, please hit subscribe. If you didn't like the video or have something else to say, then please leave it in the comments below. And if you join our Patreon or our membership thing on YouTube, you'll get early access to videos and also some exclusive videos. Certain tiers also get exclusive photos and things, so there's that. Oh, bell icon. Don't forget to hit the bell icon, because then you get told of upcoming our videos that turn up on our channel. You know what I mean? Just being subscribed isn't enough. So when we do another video on this, and we definitely will do another video on this, then mainly because I saw some of the caps inside there, and there's definitely going to be another video on this. Then you'll be told about it, and so you'll get to see it when it first comes out. Yeah. See you next time.
The present is horrible. The future looks bleak. Remember our childhood to get us through the week. We're getting re-enthused. Back to the past and the things we used. We all know that our pasts were great. Escaping the things that today we hate. Getting re-enthused. Getting re-enthused. Getting re-enthused.